Yeah, you read the title, and we're doing it. Streaming while watching Grim and Evil. Well, the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne as one show. I decided to do that for pretty much when I got bored of sometimes streaming because chat was dead, which I do have a feeling that the chat might be dead in this stream. So yeah, that would be the one thing I'm just kind of mixed too. Is like streaming, but nobody there's literally nothing. Like it's dead. Starting just that's uh, um you know how it is. And yeah, apparently a day or so ago, I did have two Grim and Evil episodes, being episode 7 and 25. They all got removed by Warner Brothers. Darn you, David something, who was in charge of Warner Brothers Discovery. Well, it did say Warner Media, so I blame them too. But then again, they own the rights to the show, as well as Cartoon Network and Maxwell Adams. But then I re-uploaded them again, but more more so they can't detect it. Probably can't see it, but it is how it is. Hey, found you streaming, about to go to bed. Oh, well, good night. Anyway, I think since the last week and the last week, but I think since I actually watched the first 13 episodes of Grim and Evil last week, I figured I may actually watch the other half of the episodes, because after Grim and Evil aired its 13th episode, it was split into Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne in 2003. But the episodes that were released in 2003 weren't produced for Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne for the standalone shows. They were made under the Grim and Evil show. Said hi. But yeah, pretty much Grim and Evil had more episodes than people think. They went unaired, but they were found on Cartoon Network On Demand thing. Got removed, as well as everything from Grim and Evil. Grim and Evil aired on Adult Swim one time. It was only a one thing. So pretty much I took the matters into my own hands, just recreating every episode of Grim and Evil there is. Because the show itself is lost media. Aside from the segments that were made for Grim and Evil. Yeah, it's a lot of Grim and Evil knowledge. Thanks to my Hector Con Carne in my head. I've been I've pretty much gotten Grim and Evil knowledge. Both about Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne. Anyway, I wouldn't want to waste the first 5 minutes of this stream just talking about Grim and Evil instead of watching it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Right, starting with, I did happen to watch episode 15 and 16 a few weeks ago. I think I could just watch them again. They're one of the episodes I, uploaded before I posted the other episodes. So yeah. But yeah, Grim and Evil had more episodes than people thought. And it was at the time that Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne split up into their own separate shows. So let's just go ahead and play the episode. Episode 4, Season 1, Episode 14. It's Pokemon, which is a Pokemon parody. Boss Cub's Day Out. And Tween Wolf, which is probably a parody of Teen Wolf or something. Actually, I may not sleep sooner than I thought. Oh. I mean, it is the weekend after all. and the weekend is my only way of streaming. Well, unless I like stream at some point, like during the week, which is probably just like before like the time right now, which is midnight, and yeah, since summer break is coming up, that'll be my chance to stream every day. And it's now 6 minutes, almost 6 minutes in, so I just better play the episode. And a fun fact about the first segment of Grim and Evil, it's Pokemon. It was the third segment of the episode that released of Billy and Mandy when it became a standalone show, paired up with Toadbot School's Sorcery, educating Grim. Which those episodes I'll get to in the next few hours or whatever. Anyway, let's just start the episode. Starting with the Pokemon parody of Billy and Mandy. And some evil Con Carne. And as I included in the title, just watching Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne. Finally added Evil Con Carne because that's also part of there too. I would say Grim and Evil, but it's, it's just Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne as one show. And there's a whole lot of lore to like the production behind Grim and Evil. Let's just get started already. We're already starting off with a banger intro. Grim and Hector laughing. That is some evil laughter right there, if I do say so myself. But, since I've watched like episodes I've seen before from Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne, I may as well watch them again. I may as well watch like the other episodes of Billy and Mandy that I've already posted. Oh, the first Mandy Couch gag featuring the new style. And Billy and Mandy has a new title card theme, which is one that's used throughout the show since when the show became its own series, as opposed to the one that was made by Guy Moon, who made the music for the Fairly Odd Parents. So yeah, Billy and Mandy got a new title card theme for the show. And yep, the Grim and Evil logo screen is in the way of the episode, but that's just my way of keeping the episode protected from getting taken down from copyright. Oh, Hulka Monsters. Yep. Yep, even if I did see these episodes before when the show was split up, obviously that was my only way of watching those shows. But in reconstructing them in the original Grim and Evil format, it was a lot of work, but it actually got through, so yeah. I recreated all episodes of Grim and Evil. I even made an episode, Jacked Up Halloween was already an episode that existed for Grim and Evil, but that was just a Halloween special for Billy and Mandy. And then 5 O'Clock Shadows and Ultimate Evil, which is basically just a Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne half-hour special or whatever. So, yeah. Which movie do you like better? Billy and Mandy Save Christmas or Big Boogie Adventure? I'd say Big Boogie Adventure. Because, I like Billy and Mandy Save Christmas, but that was mainly just like a Christmas special. Although it was 36 minutes long or something. It's probably not, it was pretty much on the same levels as like it's just a Christmas special of the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Funny that that Hoka monster actually made a like uh was fire breathes fire, yet there was fire on the screen. Well, because of the grim and evil intro image, which is just the spiral intro with Grim and Hector. Whoa. Reminds me of Eric Cartman from South Park. Oh yeah, pretty much when Grim and Evil had a new season, which is just Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne in 2003. The new style, there was a new art style that changed. It was similar to like the last few episodes of Grim and Evil, but changed a lot. A lot of change, like after 2002. Basically, just the title card theme changed for Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne, even though Evil Con Carne was late on that, which I will get into that in a few minutes when this Billy and Mandy segment concludes. But yeah, Billy and Mandy's title card theme changed after pretty much like Moon left Grim and Evil or something. So yeah, and that title card theme for I already said it, but I know I already said it, but the title card theme for the new for the other season of Grim and Evil or the other episodes that were made when the shows were split up was the title card theme that the show stuck with for like until 2007. Anyway, hello Wayne. Man, I wouldn't want to be in Nensville right now with the town having Hokey monsters and other supernatural things. Although I would like to meet the Grim Reaper, because he's one of the best characters. My favorites, actually. And he's got replaced by a Hokey monster. And there's Mandy. That's funny. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, when Mandy's at the window, that almost looked like the scene from like the Little Rock of Horrors where Mandy sees the commotion of what's going on and sees the brain-eating meteor. And that was like the episode that played before it's Pokemon. Badly drawn. Toast. Toast the monsters. I came here because I'm bored. That's nice. I mean, anybody would be bored. Oh, and it looks like the Billy Mandy segment's ending. Take a listen at this. In case you probably heard that or didn't hear that, that was the old Evil Con Carne title card theme from the from episode 2 to episode 13 of Grim and Evil. It was the early title card theme from the original Grim and Evil one from 2001. And then a few episodes later, Evil Con Carne's title card theme finally changed. but at least the classic title card theme for Evil Con Carne was like used for a couple of episodes in the extra episodes of Grim and Evil, especially in the episode Ultimate Evil. And their star with a new look. Although he looks mainly the same, except like in the other design of Grim and Evil, like in the earlier seasons, like in the intro, for example, Scar's ear appears to be inward, like in his head, like it's just like a backward C in like on his head, or unless if he's facing another way, it's a C. Basically, just a backward C on the side of his head, which is that's his old design. But in the new episodes, but in the later episodes of Grim and Evil and Evil Con Carne and Billy and Mandy, his ear began to be like on the side of his head where it's out of it or something. Round two. Which movie do you think? Wrath of the Spider Queen or Under Fist? I did like Wrath of the Spider Queen. It had some compelling moments, like where Grim faces his past of becoming the Grim Reaper and Velma trying to take back her place as Reaper, and then the Billy and Jeff's father-son relationship crumbling apart, and then two rivals, Mandy and Mindy, working together. That's really nice. And then Underfist, where it focuses on the side characters: Erwin, General Scar, Hostel Gatto, Fred Burger, and Jeff the Spider. It was a nice one. Minty sort of finally had her shot of becoming a villain, although she was more of a side whatever that is character, but she was really nice in that. She was cool in the witch. And Mr. Bun Bun was like a cool villain as well. Could have had more screen time though. Well, as for the main three characters like Grim, Billy, and Mandy, and Underfist was pretty much like the finale to the Grim and Evil franchise. But if I had to say, I think probably, I think I just like both. Let me think for a second. Let me think about this clearly. I think I'd say Wrath of the Spider Queen is better. Although I still like Underfist. In fact, I pretty much like everything that's Billy and Mandy. Some things, anyway. There are some things I dislike, some things I like. Some things I like that people hate, that people dislike. And some things I just like that, well, I just like a few things. And Bosco was just dressed as a, no, not a Scar. Oh yeah, Boscov's Day Out was basically just Boscov's old owner, which Boscov was originally a circus bear before he became Hector's body or something. And he teams up his previous owner teamed up with General Scar bring to bring Boscov back, but I'm pretty sure that fails horribly. Oh, you made Boscov mad now. Oh yeah, Even though Boskov is a bear, he's literally actually a bear. Yet he is sort of treated like a dog. Like, Ghastly went to take him out on a walk. And, you know, final round. Which movie did you like better? Big Boogie Adventure or Wrath of the Spider Queen? I mean, considering, I like both of them, I think the winner goes to Big Boogie Adventure. I mean, it actually feels like a movie. Wrath of the Spider Queen was just more like a special, basically like a two-parter episode. Well, in its original airing in 2007, it was like put together. Same with its airing in 2017. Where it's revealed that Billy and Mandy season 6 was produced in widescreen. Same with Big Boogie Adventure. Although I did reconstruct two parts of Wrath of the Spider Queen in widescreen together as one. The ending of part one, and then the start of Wrath of the Spider Queen part two just starts right up after part one. It's just a recreation of it. And it's probably one of my most viewed Billy and Mandy videos ever. So yeah, it was technically just like a two-part special. Billy and Mandy's Big Boogie Adventure actually felt like a movie. It actually sort of felt like a quote-unquote finale. There was some character development, with Grimm and how he's where Grimm is just he's the Grim Reaper where he's stuck with two kids, and sometimes he just learns to grow to like him. And Billy Billy was sort of the heart of the group, considering that Mandy actually cares about him. And then Erwin had character development too. And Fred Fredberger was just Fred Fredberger. Boogie was a great villain, and that was the second appearance after Bully Boogie from season 2. But still, I like everything from the movies, and Horror's hand. That was basically just the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet, except it had an eye and it uses fear or whatever. I haven't seen that movie in a while though. I mean, I did while I was probably editing a video featuring the movie. Oh, and Erwin turning into a werewolf yet again. The reason I say yet again is because on Checkered Past, there's a bumper of Billy and Mandy where it shows Erwin turning into a werewolf, and that is the most replayed and reoccurring bumper there is on Checkered Past. And the fact that it's from the Grim and Evil era, though, it's really nice. I mean, Gladys was. Yeah. Tell Billy and Mandy and Grim I said hi. Oh yeah, I'll tell them. Even though I know they're only fictional characters, but I do sort of the voices for them, destroy us all. I do the voices for them. Well, mainly Grim and Billy, because I can't do a girl voice. Otherwise, it just sounds like this. It's cruel and unusual. That's just me doing a monotone, cold voice. Doesn't sound anything like Mandy at all. Wow. Wow. Billy just Erwin became a werewolf, and Billy just thinks that Erwin just became that he thinks that he found a dog with glasses. Last time I watched The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy was back in 2005. Our cable got shut down for 2 weeks. Wow. Oh. Wow, that is the most Mandy line to say. Like, because I own you. Oh, yeah. Now that you really think about it, that line actually makes sense. Because Mandy literally owns the Grim Reaper. She owns death. Especially after that limbo competition in Meet the Reaper. Although she made Grim lose just by telling Mr. Snuggles, the pet hamster that Grim was after, to attack Grim by saying the words kiss kiss. And then Grim became their best friend forever. But the last time I watched Billy and Mandy, well, when it airs on TV anyway, I think it's pretty much when it aired, a few months ago, on in February something, or maybe back in 2024, where the Christmas special was airing. I sometimes wish it could just air on Checker Pass again, let alone just Cartoon Network itself. But when I'm watching Billy and Mandy right now, it's on YouTube. Well, it's mainly just covered due to copyright, but I'm trying to avoid copyright, and that is Grim and Evil I'm watching. It is Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, especially episode 25 of Grim and Evil. We'll get to that tomorrow, because I'm only pretty much watching 7 episodes a day, because I am. So, yeah. Oh, and her. Isn't that cheating, Mandy? Really? A flea? A where flea? Oh, that's it? That's it. And Erwin turns back to normal and he's naked. Damn. Mandy's traumatized and Grim's just smiling about that. I mean, Mandy never loses. She just chooses not to win. Oh, here comes that good credit roll for Grim and Evil. Alright, where's the roll? Oh, there it is. How to play episode 15 of the show. Grim and Love, Trouble with Scarina, and Love is Evil spelled backwards. Excuse me. You're watching a live stream. Be afraid. Be very afraid. And now for the next episode of Grim and Evil. I'm watching these all in the order they were made in. So here's Grim and Evil. that intro still never gets old. Although it probably might have, but eh, still a pretty good intro to listen to. Especially the last few seconds of it, like right this one. And the outro is pretty good too. Grim in Love, with Grim's sights like shaped into a heart. And a fun fact about the Mandy couch gag for Grim in Love, when Billy Mandy became a standalone series, some episodes, were still in the order of, Grim and Evil, like Grim and Love and Love is Evil spelled back, for the first and ending segment, like Grim and Love and Love's Evil spelled backwards, Mandy the Merciless and the Really Odd Couple, basically. And basically in Grim and Evil, the episodes, the Trouble with Scarina and Ghost Sport, they replaced the episodes from Billy and Mandy. Basically, just the first and third segment just stays the same to Billy and Mandy and Grim and Evil. Although some segments, in Billy and Mandy, stayed the same. Like the first segment of the first episode is Meet the Reaper. That stays the same. The the middle segment from the second episode of Con Carne, Emotional Scar, stays the same. You know the drill. But the Mandy couch gag Grim and Love, Crushed, and Love is Evil spelled backwards. If you can hear Mandy say, "Can you feel the love?" But if you listen closely, part of the Grim and Evil intro can be heard when someone fakes. Oh, it's that adult joke again, where Malaria fakes her own death. I think, and people consider it an adult joke. I think Grim's not amused, and now Grim is concerned when she screams, and so is everybody in that diner. They're all looking at Grim like, "What are you doing?" Life rocks, sure does. Grim is just and Mallory just passes out. Or as much people say that she died, but Mallory isn't dead. They're all looking at Grim like he didn't do it. Yeah, tell it to the judge, Grim. And Mal and Malloria is alive. Yep, she is alive. And Grim just uses a person to to put on the puddle, and that guy just gets stepped on. Well, there goes that guy's bagpipes. And the rain made Grim cry. Basically, just basically the rain went through his eyes and into his mouth, basically making it look like Grim is crying. Oh, Grim's got a different look. It says, I'm king of the underworld. Are you sure about that, Grim? I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be too sure about that, Grim. I've seen this episode before, and I already know how it plays out. Me too. And that's an unfortunate ending. The screen is making my eyes not blink. I can't stop. I'm sorry about that. I think it's just probably my profile picture in the middle of the screen. Basically, I figured out, like, now I could just, like, I have the option to, like, put on the camera, and I choose not, and if I don't have the camera on, it's mainly just, but in the middle of the screen is my profile picture. I knew that Grimm played the song Darkness by SPF 1000. That was also performed by David Ivy in the Battle of the Bands episode, as it as it's probably listed in the Billy and Mandy credits, as well as the Grim and Evil credits, like from episode 23 of Grim and Evil, basically. David Ivy was probably one of the band members of SPF 1000, and he sung Darkness. And when Grimm sang it, that was David Ivy's voice. It wasn't Greg Eagles who voiced Grimm. And look at that, another Evil Con Carne segment. And that was the last Evil Con Carne segment to have the old title card theme, before switching to a different theme, which is introduced in Go Spork. Basically, Go Spork is just about the team from that stops Hector Con Carne and his plans in uh, Evil Con Carne. That's where they get the main focus, I think. And there's Estroy. And he's rusting. Oil? What was Estroy trying to do? Oil up? Oh, wait, I probably shouldn't say things about that. That was from 2024 and Gen Alpha thing. Like the term oil up. I don't want to imply anything related to P. Diddy, although sometimes the memes are funny. Funny memes. And Scar is talking to a toilet, trying to rizz up a toilet. What the actual hell, Scar? Oh, wait. He was just probably practicing. He's practicing his woo pitching, and he got beaten up. Poor Scar. He deserves a break, especially after dealing with neighbors like Billy. I need to get a new light bulb because I broke some by accident. Oops, an embarrassment. Damn. Oh, and Scar just found something. It's Scar Arena, which is basically just a bomb. It's basically just a girl Scar. Basically just like a a thing that looks like General Scar, but as a girl. Hence her name, Scarina. Basically just Gingerbread Scar, which is actually a bomb by Estroy or something. Planned to, like, explode Hector's base, which is Bunny Island. And Scar thinks it's an actual woman, when it isn't. And there goes that um, that animal went fast, like Sonic. I mean, if Bosco were to go that fast, he's just this car. And Scar makes that eyebrow meme. It's not a meme, but it's just. Oh yeah, Scar's just too oblivious to Scarina being a bomb. Wow, damn. He didn't have to do stomach that bad, though. He's like a sponge and takes and takes and takes. Basically, so Hector Con Carne is SpongeBob, confirmed? No. Well, I'm happy for you, Scar, but you still gotta get rid of the bomb. That is not orderly fashion, or whatever. Damn. Oh yeah, that ship that blasted away that Hector and Ghastly were in. Hang on, let me show you. Hang on, let me get to that. Just look at them. The stop at nothing to come between us. So typical. Alright, there it is. And would you look at that? I guess Gru got some for that. Because that almost looks like Gru's ship from Despicable Me. That's what it exactly looks like. Anyway, back to the episode.
General Scar, this is your last chance. Get on board before it's too late.
He said suck eggs, but that was an apple that he threw at Ghastly. Scarring is gonna blow up. And Scar's gonna kiss the bomb. And that's how the episode ended. Everything exploded. Well, let's hope let's hope that General is still alive after that explosion. Although he might be reduced to a brain and stomach like Hector Con Carne. But I doubt it. He's brought back in the next episode, don't worry. So Scar is fine. Pretty much any episode is like episodic, just an episode of Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne. They're basically like SpongeBob, like anything can happen and everything resets in the next episode. Although there's some continuity a little bit. Uh, it is what it is. What time is it? 12:52. So exactly almost 1 a.m. 1 a.m. and I'm watching Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy with an additional Evil Con Carne episode in between episodes of Billy and Mandy in the 7-minute format because that was how Cartoon Network shows were, in the late 2000s and early 2000s. Basically just three episodes that are 7 minutes long put into one episode. There was ones for like Dexter's Laboratory and also with other segments like Justice Friends and Dial M for Monkey, which take place probably in the same universe as Dexter's Lab. And then there's other shows like Cow and Chicken and I Am Weasel. I Am Weasel also had its standalone show that spun off from Cow and Chicken. And there's also Johnny Bravo, which is just Johnny Bravo. And then there's also Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne, Grim and Evil to be exact. And that shot where it's prepare for combat, that was actually used in the Billy and Mandy standalone intro itself. Pretty much anything from pretty much any clip from Billy and Mandy, was used in the Billy and Mandy intro. But it was mainly like the clips from the earlier from like no not earlier episodes. The clips were from Billy and Mandy were from the 2003 episodes of Grim and Evil. Well, I'm gonna say unaired extra 13 episodes of Grim and Evil. They were used for like the intro of Billy and Mandy. But as for Evil Con Carne, they also used clips from the show. They also used clips from the extra 13 episodes of Grim and Evil, as well as some episodes from 2002, like the other episodes from Grim and Evil. Even Mandy has like a faint beard or whatever that is called. Billy's covered in ketchup. Guess he needed time to catch up on things. A bucket of spiders, of course. Billy's biggest fear, spiders. Although I'm pretty sure his biggest, oh, he's scared. Oh, he's scared of a ladybug, which aren't they're not that bad. I'm guessing before Billy had his spider son named Jeff, he was afraid of spiders. Damn. He really used a nail as a wedding ring. And Nurgle is just getting covered in bees. Getting stung by bees. Oh. Oh, that's where Billy's Aunt Sis fell in love with Nurgle. And that was like the first debut of the voice of Nurgle, like Martin Jarvis, who replaced David Warner. Like, David Warner voiced Nurgle in the first two appearances of Nurgle during the Grim and Evil era, pretty much. And then there goes Nurgle and Aunt Sis. And Billy's in the litter box. Then he ate cat poop, which he thought it was candy bar. And the Grim and Evil credits roll. Grim and Evil. Oh yeah, I think this. Oh yeah, I think the credits of Grim and Evil is where Maxwell Adams' message at the end of the Billy Mandy episode, credits from season 1 through 3. I think that's where it makes sense there, where Maxwell Adams says, "No, no, this is the end of the show. You're watching it backwards," and the message is reversed. So you'd have to rewind, edit the credits in reverse so you can hear the message. And the fact that the original Grim and Evil credits is literally just the first few 30 seconds of the Grim and Evil intro, but played in reverse. Basically, just the Grim and Evil logo fading back, fading back into the logo, and then Grim and Hector are laughing in reverse. And now for the next episode of Grim and Evil. Mandy the Merciless, Ghost Sport, and a really odd couple. Although I did see this in episode 15 quite a while ago. So yeah, I think we'll get back into episodes I haven't seen in a while when it comes. So here we go. Yep, chat might be dead. Oh well. And the fun fact about episode 16 of Grim and Evil, like I mentioned, is that it was one of the extra 13 episodes that actually aired. And it was on Checkered Past. Well, basically just an error, when Grim and Evil aired. Grim and Evil wasn't intended to air, except Billy and Mandy's 11th episode, Mandy the Merciless, Creating Chaos, and the Really Odd Couple was supposed to air. But I'm pretty sure the crew at Turner Broadcasting got mixed up with those episodes because Billy and Mandy segments with the first and third segment being the same as the Billy and Mandy ones and Grim and Evil ones. So anyway, they got mixed up. So they just aired Grim and Evil out of nowhere. Sweat rag, of course. Oh, Mandy's disgusted by things. What's with you two? He doesn't even acknowledge Irwin. And Mandy is ruling the world in the future. A building that looks exactly like Mandy, shaped like Mandy. And now Mandy is a giant worm creature thing. Billy, Billy clones. Mandy robots. Oh yeah, pretty much Billy, man, pretty much Mandy. Actually sounded like the line that Billy said to Mandy. Mandy, is that you from like Remedy? Oh yeah, the one. Oh yeah, Mandy became an immortal worm, pretty much. Oh yeah, it did give her immortality. I'm pretty sure she outlived. Um, Wait, this takes place in the future, but you know, I feel like this is like taking place in the far, far future. Although some characters were still alive in the present, and I thought they were like overlived by Mandy. Like you know, Mandy just lives through everybody. Like Mandy just like outlives everybody except for Grim, because Grim's probably immortal as well. And Mandy just creates Billy clones. And yeah, some of the Grim and Evil episodes I've posted, before the current ones, like from 1 to 25. Some were episodes of Grim and Evil were actually public domain, so I can actually post them without having the Grim and Evil image in the way. Cinnamon's polar opposite, frogs. I'm pretty sure that was just like a stupid one to keep. So I oh yeah, that was Mandy's plan of capturing like the resistance or whatever. Oh yeah, Grim is working against Mandy, and there's like I thought Erwin had a crush on Mandy or was obsessed with Mandy. Why would he be against? Oh right, it's the future. Mandy took over. You know, I may actually have to Google search the polar opposite of cinnamon. Although it's probably going to give me results to like either frogs or just random results. Or maybe just straight up Billy and Mandy references or whatever. That's just brutal. Just putting Grimm's body parts in different jars. Oh, she has her sources, and everybody's scared. And here comes the evil Con Carne segment. Go Spork! And that was also the first time that the evil Con Carne title card theme changed. Aside from Ultimate Evil, which kept the old theme. But pretty much from Ghost Sport to COD versus Hector, basically just a new title card theme. And Evil Con Carne was laid on that. Pretty much. Although then again, like, Billy and Mandy was more popular than Evil Con Carne. And, after Grim and Evil split up and Maxwell Adams like had a choice to Maxwell Adams like had a choice to he thought that it was stressful to do both shows at once. So, the network made him have to make a decision whether to either like continue Billy, like whether to have work on Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne. But as how popular one of the shows was better than the other, Billy Maxwell Adams chose to continue the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy, which is an understandable choice because I still love Billy and Mandy. As much as I love Evil Con Carne, it's understandable why Billy and Mandy was the popular of the two shows, basically. Like literal two kids owning the Grim Reaper. That's as popular. That's really popular. Although sometimes underrated. What's even more underrated is Evil Con Carne. But yeah, so pretty much Maxwell Adams just chose to continue working on Billy and Mandy until 2007 and do one more season of Evil Con Carne. Because it wouldn't be just fair for Evil Con Carne to just end like that, like, boom, no more Evil Con Carne. But there's more episodes of Evil Con Carne. Well, it's only 4, which is from season 2. Season 2 only had 4 episodes. So, yeah. And pretty much after Evil Con Carne was canceled for the last time, or pretty much, when Billy and Mandy aired season 2, and later in the same year, season 3, and season 2 of Evil Con Carne, he pulled General Scar out of Evil Con Carne and made him a reoccurring character in the show, pretty much. So Scar became a reoccurring character. Although there was other cameos from other characters of Evil Con Carne, like Hector Con Carne, Bosco, Major Dr. Ghastly, and last but not least, COD Commando. Hey, I'm back. I gotta go anyway. Oh, that's understandable. I hope you have a good night's rest, and I'll see you tomorrow. Oh yeah, Bosco is an animal and so is cod. Like, talking about like codfish, cod commando. I'm pretty sure Bosco understands cod or something. And Bosco, I mean, no, not Bosco. Cod commando's getting hypnotized. A Sonic blocker. So you can just block Sonic like that. Why not? Why not have Eggman use that? Really, that's huh. And there it is. Go Spork. Hector's really enjoying his plan coming to place. And sometimes Boskov actually looks like he feels bad. But, and there's Team Spork yet again. Oh, and Scar doesn't win against him. And then he reverses it, and then the effects of the telemarketing is not interested. Oh yeah, when I watched this episode, I was all like, "Yes, Hector, I will obey," and then not interested. And then COD Commando's back to normal. Oh yeah, pretty much evil Con Carne is basically just the characters, just the show from it's just the show only mainly like the show where the villains are the main characters. And sometimes I just root for the villains a little bit. I mean, because they're main characters. Although I do like the heroes in this show. And COD Commando got run over, and there's a skeleton. And COD is and the COD Commando's alive. That's nice. The really odd couple. And a chicken head. Oh no. There goes that. I guess Billy got inspiration from the Ed Boys, or Ed and Nettie, and made the Al Mungo stink bomb. Although the stink bomb had nothing to do with Ed and Nettie and Billy and Mandy, but I feel like that was inspired. Although Grim does have sort of a nose a little bit. Okay, damn. Mandy didn't have to be that mean to Grim, but yeah, she's mean anyway. And then Billy's instantly excited to see his best friend. Harold looked worried. Oh yeah, Billy's house in the intro was different compared to the one in the Grim and Evil era, especially in later episodes. Which the house in Billy and Mandy and Billy and Mandy intro is different, as well as some characters appearing in the Billy and Mandy intro like Scar and Lord Pain. They weren't introduced until season 2, although Scar was introduced in Evil Con Carne. But Lord Pain, who's introduced in season 2, appears in the Billy and Mandy intro. And that intro and the show itself came out in 2003 as a spin-off as a standalone show from Grim and Evil. I am sorry if I keep talking too much. Okay, damn, Mandy. Like, like, like Billy's all like, I can't believe you're staying in my, can't you believe you're staying in my house, Mandy? And Mandy's all like, I believe you should shut up, Billy. And now Mandy gets half of the room. Oh, there was Mr. Snuggles. The whole reason, like, Grim is Mandy and Billy's best friend. Wow, that looked like it hurt. Damn. Wow, you wouldn't want to test Mandy's patience, Billy. And Mandy just rolled up her sleeve, but that was her arm. Wow. That room is a mess.
Really, Graham? You were gonna do that? Yeah, really was annoying as ever.
Oh, that looks like the stock image of like Billy and Mandy fighting over the Grim. I'm pretty sure that's inspired by that one image. And Grim has that set of teeth. Creepy. And now Grim's having another crash out. He sounds like he's speaking gibberish or a foreign language. That was one of the funniest crash outs I've ever seen. First Billy's upset, now Mandy's upset. Wait. Grimy. And Mandy's putting up a brick wall in Billy's closet. That is one of the most coldest things that Mandy's ever done. And that marks another end of a Grim and Evil episode. Those are some good credits, though. And now for the next episode of Grim and Evil. Wait, too far. No, wait. Oh, wait. Season 1, Episode 17. Brown Evil, which is a double-length story which is probably the first two-parter episode of Billy and Mandy, since Evil Con Carne already had their two-parter episodes. So, and then there's League of Destruction, which, like in the Grim and Evil order, like, episode 17 has League of Destruction, episode 18 is Day of the Dreadbot, and episode 19 has Gutless. That's the reverse order of, like, episode 7 of Evil Con Carne as a standalone show. Gutless, Day of the Dreadbot, and League of Destruction. Anyway, let's get this episode started, shall we? Yeah, show me what you got, Grim and Hector. Sometimes Grim and Evil is like, Grim and Evil is like one of those TV show intros that can't help you want to listen to without skipping it. That goes for most other show intros. No, Mandy, don't give me a spanking. And now back to the Grim and Evil episodes that are covered by the Grim and Evil screen. Neat. Thanks, Glitch123. Oh yeah, the Mandy couch gag that I just mentioned, where Mandy just pulls out a spiked paddle and said, somebody needs a spanking. That was from, like, one of the lost Grim and Evil intros, Mandy couch gags. And the only source footage of that is from, like, when the show was on Cartoon Network on demand, and it's recorded from a camera, as well as some other Mandy couch gags, which I used anyway for, like, when I reconstructed the entire series of Grim and Evil. Although there was also some Mandy intro gags that were finally found in HD, like from episode 24, where Mandy says, "Therefore I am," which is found on the Codename Kids Next Door DVD. It's super hugest mission file 2. And the episode used was Crushed. Although Crushed didn't have that Mandy intro. The Crawling Niceness had that. But it's whatever. Still Billy and Mandy. Needs more salt. Oh yeah, Billy is not allowed to go in Grim's trunk. Billy, stay out of me trunk. A Billy doll. Oh, that was a voodoo doll. Evil powder, which has made the brownies evil. He doesn't know how to spell salt. That's how much of an idiot Billy is. He spelled evil powder and he assumes it's salt. He doesn't even know how to read, too. Hey, I know how to read. Oh yeah? Then what does this say? 11. We gotta get this boy in school. I'm already in school. Alright. Oh yeah. Those brownies smell bad. The ones that Billy made because of the evil powder, but they're delicious. But they're actually made for, like, the dead. Oops. and he stores some in his head. Oh, and now his head stinks from the brownies. And now the smell and aroma of those brownies are going across town into the graves. And then causes everything in town. And then they're at the graveyards. And it makes zombies come back to life. Ooh, super spooky, super scary, yo. Hmm. You know what's weird? When I've been watching, like, Grim and Evil, I haven't seen a single ad, like, usually when I watched Grim and Evil in the last few streams, there was ads. Because I'm watching this on YouTube. Well, there goes Pat the Baker. And then there's a zombie. He doesn't even know what a zombie is. Actually, that was a hand of a zombie. And it punched Billy. Although I do like the character, sometimes Billy is an idiot. He's an idiot, but he's some, like, one of those dumb but likable characters. Oh yeah, Billy doesn't have a brain. Although Billy kind of sort of like maybe he might actually have a brain. Oh yeah, like it's like some episodes in season one say that he doesn't have a brain, although another episode actually shows Billy's brain. So Billy actually does have a brain. It's probably just either small or something. Billy the Baker, and his nose just fell off. Game over. So yeah, Billy Mandy's Brown Evil was the first two-parter episode of Billy Mandy. Almost like Evil Con Carne's two-parter episodes. And then it goes to other Evil Con Carne segment, League of Destruction. Basically just Justice League but villains. Wait, the islands of, it shows a view of the island, it shows a view of the islands of, after an, like, asteroid run, yet, they're in the island itself. So, like, do they have drones, or cameras facing the island themselves? And they collided. Whoops. League of Destruction. Oh yeah, some episodes of Evil Con Carne or Billy Man. Well, some episodes of Billy Mandy and Evil Con Carne mention the title. Others called Commando Shopping. Wait, what was in the shopping cart? It doesn't really show anything except a carton of milk or orange juice. 132. Oh, everybody's at. Wow. Oh yeah, Asteroid was basically like their equivalent to Erwin. He simps on Ghastly. Understandable though. And the fact that both Mandy and Ghastly were composed by Gray Delisle Griffin, and then pretty much like there's two characters that simp for Mandy and Ghastly, which Erwin sims for Mandy and Asteroid sims for Ghastly. Damn, you wouldn't want to make her mad, Scar. The powers of nature. Oh, there's Scar skeleton and he's a pile of ash. Oh, Troop Terror. And it was an explosion. Wait, wasn't Troop Terror basically like inspired by the Person Scouts? Like they were selling cookies, but they were bombs. If COD Commando only speaks, if COD Commando only speaks in blogs, how come they understand them a little bit? Roscoe's cross-eyed. That's funny. Looking at chat, and it's dead. Starting to feel like my channel right now. Oh no, everybody's gonna get mad. Yeah. Death Ray Eyes. Oh. And now, and now everybody gets into a fight. And now Team Sport came and everybody's just defeated, even without damage, like from Team Sport. They didn't even do anything. The villains defeated themselves. Huh? That was a freaky phone call. Did P. Diddy just call Abraham Lincoln? Because Abraham Lincoln is probably still alive in the Billy Mandy universe. He both appears in Billy Mandy and Evil Con Carne, pretty much. $138. Nice, I think. And there's Hostile Gato. It's Hostile Gato. It's Hostile Gato. It's Pat the Baker. Really, that wasn't even close to Pat the Baker, man. It could have been worse. He could have called Hostile Gato Santa Claus, like Billy called Grim Santa Claus when he first met Grim. Oh, look, it's Santa Claus. Billy, we are not doing that again. He thinks this is a video game and it's not. It's real life for them. Oh, damn. Zombie chicken. Zombie egg. That chicken's got a grenade. A classic line. And the zombie chicken exploded. Literally. Oh, Billy Mandy both said "oh crud" and "fusion" or whatever. Oh crud! The man with no brain. He won't think twice if he doesn't have a brain. He smells what? It's all in his head. Mention the title. Brown Evil. Oh, Brownie's evil. And then Hosto, Gato, and Grim get into another fight. The third fight of the show. First time they fought was in Hosto, Gato's Spectral Exterminator, and another one in the second one was in Big Trouble in Billy's Basement, and now Brown Evil Part 2. They're playing that like a video game. Oh yeah, Hosto, Gato, and Grim had a lightsaber fight. You know, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I probably should have mentioned that, or maybe I did on Star Wars Day. And Grim brownies are getting eaten. Grim's kissing a zombie, and there goes Grim's head. Only in America. That line actually makes sense. And now is the end of Brown Evil. And the zombie chicken's still alive. Almost like Ernie the giant chicken from like from like Family Guy and also the chicken from outer space from Courage the Cowardly Dog, which is what the zombie chicken actually feels like. The chicken from outer space. I guess not. I guess Billy and Mandy sort of like got a little bit of inspiration from Courage the Cowardly Dog itself. And it's totally not an ugly disgrace to Courage the Cowardly Dog. So people who say that, like that guy, are wrong. Next episode of Rim and Evil, episode season 1, episode 18. Go Kart 3000, Day of the Dreadbot, and Smarten Up. I still love how there's no ads like in between evil Con Carne segments. I find that hilarious. Also, there's something that needs to be shown. Grim and Evil intro, yeah, created by Maxwell Adams. But here's where it's different. Instead of Mandy in the Mandy intro, it's Billy. Like Billy's unfamiliar with the Mandy couch gag, so Billy just walks in all like, "Oh, where am I? Who are you people?" And that's pretty much one of the only Mandy couch gags that don't feature Mandy at all. Instead, it's just Billy. Oh yeah, there was a clip of Grim and Evil Go Kart 3000 uploaded online. In fact, the entire episode of Go Kart 3000 from the Grim and Evil, like with the Grim and Evil intro and the Billy couch gag, it's on the Internet Archive. I'm pretty sure that's one of one of the only footage from episode 18 of Grim and Evil. Like there was footage of credits from episode 18 of Grim and Evil, as well as episode 16, which has the end credits error where the copyright trademark has disappeared. And pretty much just any other Grim and Evil credits are lost media, unfortunately. Like Go Kart 3000 actually reminds me of the Pixar movie Cars. Billy and Mindy. And the fun fact, something that confuses me. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Mindy appears in Go Kart 3000 despite her first appearance episode, her first debut episode being Educating Grim. And the Grim and Evil Order has Go Kart 3000 as episode 18, and Educating Grim is episode 19. The Grim and Evil Order is kind of weird, but I still consider Mindy's first appearance to be Educating Grim. And in case you didn't know, that wasn't sarcasm. And then there's a mysterious racer on a wagon, which is actually Puddin. I recognize that hoodie anywhere, and I did see the ending scene for that episode. And I'm pretty sure he's keeping his identity a secret until the end. I actually do like this segment. Hmm. Now that I think about it, maybe Mindy's first appearance is Go Kart 3000 in the production order anyway. Her debut episode was actually just Educating Grim. They were about to say hell, but they said heck. Yeah. And by the way, Mindy's first appearance episode, Educating Grim, along with Gutless and Toplat School of Sorcery, is coming up next after this episode of Grim and Evil. And after that is Creating Chaos, with the freaky scene with Billy and Eris, and then Max Courage, which was originally paired up with Grim for a Day and Chicken Ball Z when it aired. Like for some reason, it aired with Billy and Mandy instead of Evil Con Carne. So yeah. And then the Grim Show came after that. And then that's probably where we're gonna end the stream when I'm done watching that episode of Grim and Evil, pretty much. And then I'll watch more tomorrow, starting with episode 21, Who Killed Who in Son of Nurgle, which features no Evil Con Carne episodes. We'll get to that tomorrow. Because I'm pretty sure episode 21 and 25 is where Grim and Evil gets a little unique and interesting. Not really, but whatever. And she is in traffic. And I'm pretty sure she said a swear word. It was just overlapped by the honking of the horns of the cars. You know how it is. But it just keeps falling over. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the newscaster said somebody stop me, referencing the mask with Jim Carrey. Oh yep, Mandy's gonna win. Mandy's gonna win. Just kidding. That was a psych moment. Then Spur drags Grim to hell underworld, and then Puddin wins the race. Puddin wins the race. Oh wait, now I see why he covered his identity. And he starts crying. Oh yeah, because he doesn't really like that much attention. Day of the Dreadbot. Here we go. Grim, are you okay after Spur beating you up in hell? Well, my mom's like, well, I'm okay. I mean, getting beaten up by Spur in hell was pretty much hurtful. Yeah, that's understandable. Wedgies hurt the most. Aww. Actor got his henchman from Burger King, and he tells them to go back to Burger King where they came from. Oh, and the henchmen are taking their teddy bears. They missed the opportunity to make the teddy bears purple to resemble Boscov, and maybe add a little tiny evil brain to it. Hector got his employees from Burger King. And in case you didn't know, Scar was being sarcastic. Oh yeah, realistic imagery of like gears and stuff. Realistic footage of ducks. Oh, dreadbots. Dreadbots everywhere. They actually look like the henchmen, but they're robots. And later on in the episode, there's a dreadbot that actually looks like Scar himself, with his voice as well. Just Scarbot. It's Scar, just loyalty meter, Hector, and now Scar changed it to Scar himself. That's a little funny. He just took a piece of tape and then wrote his name on it and put it there. And then will later come Scar's betrayal. And and there's a cardboard cutout of COD Commando. Hector's having fun with that. And now they turn against Hector. And that's pretty much how Scar betrayed Hector. Oh yeah, Scar did like have countless attempts of like to overthrow Hector Con Carne and become ruler of evil Con Carne. And Boscov's in a cage, and they have Sigh, poor stomach, and everything is separate. Like Hector's brain, um, in his stomach, and then Boscov. You are captured. Have a nice day. To be honest, he actually sounds like Emperor Zurg for some reason. Scar, and then Scar takes over. And now Scar becomes the king. Long live the king, General Scar. And now Scar created like, oh yeah, Scar made another Dreadbot that looks exactly like himself. So General Scarbot. Stick the knife in his back and twist, twist, twist. Emperor Scar. Nice. Yep, they still mention the title. Oh, Scar bought? He has a piece of tape or just piece of paper that says bot and puts it next to Scar's name. He pulls a Scar. Stick the knife in his back. Twist, twist, twist. He's so proud. That's funny. And there goes Scar. Smarten up. With Billy with a dunce cap on. That's really funny. Really funny. And Billy just got knocked off on the bus. That sounds like a skill issue to me, Billy. Damn. A jar. Well, Billy really is an idiot. A bookworm, of course. Isn't that like cheating? Wow, that sounds like smart, Billy. And then Milkshakes eats the worm. That's like not the first time that the cat's been possessed. Fudge. Was Billy really about to say the F word? But good thing he said fudge in order to avoid, like, the episode being pulled from airings. William. His name is William. No, Billy's cat becomes smart. Clowns? Can all the... I thought Billy was afraid of clowns. Destroy us all! Destroy us all! Destroy us all! Damn. Damn. A cannibal worm. That's funny. Damn. Imbecile. Damn. Understandable crash out. Damn. That's just a bookworm, Billy. And I think Milkshake's back to normal. That is the cat. And Milkshake's actually does rub it in. Just seeing like, Saliva, the dog, like talk and stand on two hind legs, actually reminds me of Brian Griffin. It actually kind of does sound like Brian Griffin though, except that's not Seth MacFarlane. And now for the next episode of Grim and Evil. Come on. Season 1, Episode 19. Educating Grim, Gutless, and Tell Black School Sorcery. And on the thumbnail, it is Mindy's debut episode. Alright. My favorite character, by the way. Alright, let's get this episode started. I'm also still surprised that there's no ads, which I do find strange, considering that there was ads or something. Considering that there was ads. But I guess. Wait. Oh. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that Educating Grim doesn't have like a Mandy couch gag. Well, in Grim and Evil anyway. I don't know why that was the case though. Basically, it just cuts right to the episode. Well, I actually read on the wiki of Billy and Mandy couch gags, and it's shown that episode 19 of Grim and Evil doesn't have a Mandy couch gag. Unless there was, and it's just lost media. Oh yeah, since this is an episode where Billy and Mandy go to school and they meet Mindy, well, Grim meets Mindy, or whatever. And this is probably this is the first appearance of the school uniforms. Oh, Billy. Evil lurks in those hallways. Evil. They're evil, but they're not too evil. And there's Mindy herself. Although Grim and Evil didn't introduce Mindy until Go Kart 3000 for some reason. And Billy just got hit by a door. poor Billy. Mindy sounds adorable, like, in the earlier seasons of Billy and Mandy. Rachel McFarlane did a pretty good job on voicing her, as well as Eris. But, I'm starting to wonder whatever happened to, those two girls that were, with Mindy. Those two girls that looked exactly the same. I guess they were just, one-off characters like Malaria or Bobby or whatever. She's just using Grim. And there's Abraham Lincoln, who not only appears in Billy and Mandy, but also in Evil Con Carne. It actually kind of sounded like Haley from American Dad for a second. And I think that's because of the case of Mindy being voiced by Rachel McFarlane, who voiced Haley from American Dad. And the fact that, Mindy isn't really interested in Grim. She's just trying to get Mandy's attention and stuff, pretty much. And just finds Grim very boring. But she just tries to take Grim away for Mandy's attention. Keep it real on the flip side. And also, Educating Grim and Toadblack School Sorcery were one of the first episodes of Billy and Mandy. Not first episodes of Billy and Mandy, but they aired first when Billy and Mandy became a standalone show. Same with Gutless for Evil Con Carne. this was the episode of like the first few segments of Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne was like when they aired this when the show split up from Grim and Evil. Oh, and Mindy's flashback scene. Oh, oh yeah, she just speaks a lot. Oh damn. Just two words made Mindy who she was in the later series. If she couldn't have Mandy, no one would. But still, I actually did kind of feel bad for Mindy in that episode. Like, she wanted to be Mandy's friend, but she was talkative a little bit, and Mandy was just all like, "Shut the hell up," and Mindy didn't take it too well. I mean, I understand why Mandy would say that to Mindy, but damn, she just wanted a friend, and she still feels heartbroken today. Makes me feel bad for her even more. Feels like I'm pretty much one of those people that like the character and understand her a little bit. Um, he gave away his scythe for roller skates. Oh, USA. And then she takes Abraham Lincoln as her best friend, and then just pushed Grim away. That was actually kind of funny though. But poor Grim though. Then again, poor Mindy. She just wants friends, kind of like Nerval. But then Mindy's became like the popular girl in Ennsville Elementary, pretty much. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's good to be home. Gutless. Most people like on cable providers, on cable stuff or whatever, and other things or some people they say that the first episodes of Billy and Mandy are Toadblatt School Sorcery, educating Grim and Pokemon, and Evil Con Carne's first episode is Gutless, Gutless, Day of the Dreadbot, and League of Destruction. Aw, poor stomach. He needs stomach though. But yeah, pretty much Gutless, Day of the Dreadbot, and League of Destruction were but those episodes aired first when those shows became separate from Grim and Evil. But I still consider Meet the Reaper and Evil Con Carne to be the first episodes of Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne, even if they spun off into Grim and Evil and spun off from Grim and Evil. But they were still made for Grim and Evil, by the way. Yep, 0 viewers in chat. I guess they kind of got tired of me just talking about Billy and Mandy. Oh yeah, one mistake that they made is the UK, like the UK, let me take a look at this. This you will fix this as the UK. But does that look like the UK? No, it's not. That's Africa. And look, there's Madagascar right there. That is not okay. I guess some things just got it wrong. Anyway, back to evil Con Carne.
It is actually quite uncommon with people living in Great Britain. In fact, most Brits are living normal lives. Normal lives, huh? Well, not for long. Let's go, Bosco. Please, payback time.
Oh, no, you don't. You're gonna stay in bed, drink your chamomile.
Well, after the company to conquer.
Okay, have it your way. But the stomach stays.
Poor stomach, though. Stomach was sick, though.
Please. Don't leave me.
Sorry, I cannot stay, for it is up to me to avenge you.
Oh, Poskov became buff for a second. Reminds me of Ultimate Evil, which aired a year later after Gutless.
We are coming up on the United Kingdom.
Poskov's face made me laugh. It was actually kind of hilarious. Where Poskov had like squinting eyes or whatever. The trusty dragon. He wasn't sorry about that. Chimney sweepers. Ew. Oh yeah, the guards in Great Britain or UK are just standing there. Fire on the trusty dragon. Oh yeah, the dragon looks like it's gonna. It's a naughty dragon. Literally, it doesn't have the guts to go through with this evil plan. Damn, poor stomach. Aww. And then Hector starts crying. Oscar eats a piece of chicken and then starts crying too. Actually, this episode was kind of sad, almost at the end. They were crying for stomach, almost. And stomach has eyes. That was kind of weird, freaky. Stomach was already alive, but sort of, but. Well, at least stomach might be cured. Ghastly didn't even listen. What the heck? Where? That's funny. That's how it ended. Black School Sorcery. Basically a parody of Harry Potter. Pretty much. And this was the first segment that aired when Billy Mandy became a standalone show. Still produced for Grim and Evil, by the way. Premiered on June 13th of 2003, which is the anniversary of Black School Sorcery, Educating Grimm, and its Pokemon. It's gonna come out, it's gonna be next month, in a few days, and next month on June 13th. And look at the day arrangements, and you see that June 13th is on a Friday. Almost like when Billy Mandy first premiered as a standalone show. The reason I keep saying standalone show because it originated from Grim and Evil, the show I'm currently watching. Well, mainly just recreations of Grim and Evil. Just Billy Mandy and Evil Con Carne as a standalone show pieced together. Still does look like Grim and Evil though. And there's Dean Black himself. Put on a squid hat. And there's Weird Al Yankovic, voicing Squid Hat himself. That was nice. Understand? Weaselthorpe. Weaselthorpe. Oh yeah, Gunner's tank is better. Calamari. That's funny. Now Squid Hat's scared. But wasn't like. And there's Nigel Planter himself. It's Billy and Mandy. You mentioned the title. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um. Oh yeah. Nigel Planter sounds like a kid when he was younger, but like as the series over time, like starting from like One Crazy Summoner, that's when he hit puberty. Pretty much. Graham has that side of teeth. So yeah, pretty much Nigel Planter is a parody of Harry Potter. So yeah, pretty much and also Toadblood School Sorcery was pretty much the first installment of the Nigel Planter saga. The second one was Nigel Planter and the Chamber Pot of Secrets, which features Lord Moldy. You know his name, which you can't say it because glass will break. Anything will break. And then the third installment, One Crazy Summoner. Well, I should mention that they were in all separate they were in separate seasons. So yeah, like Toadblood School Sorcery, Nigel Planter and Toadblood School Sorcery came out in season 1. Nigel Planter and Chamber Pot of Secrets came out in season 2. One Crazy Summer came out in season 4. And last but not least, Nigel Planter and the Order of Peanuts, the final installment in the final season, which is season 6. And it was also produced in widescreen, so yeah. But they went in that cave. But they went through that cave. Of course I'm right. I'm the D. Well, there goes Toadblack. Thunderstank. Ow. That was Mandy's idea. Weaselthorpe. I am Weaselthorpe. Oh, that's where he's revealed that. Oh, nope. Nigel Planter is going to die. Never mind. He appears in the next episode. If he isn't anyway. Take where credit is due. There goes his teeth. Or he lost his front teeth. Wasn't that foreshadowing? And the Grim and Evil credits. I still do not get why that this episode doesn't have a Mandy couch gag. Maybe it does, it's just not shown in the episode. And it's lost media, much like Grim and Evil itself. I may actually have to ask Maxwell Adams himself, since he's like the creator of Grim and Evil. Although he may not remember, but probably he might know the answers, anything with Billy and Mandy and Grim and Evil. Especially with the extra 13 episodes having one episode just having the Billy and Mandy intro, which is episode 25 of the show. Anyway, now that episode 19 is concluded, now time for episode 20, and it's probably the last one of the night because Chad's dead and stuff. So, Grim and Evil, episode 20. Season 1, episode 20. Creating Chaos, Mass Courage, and The Grimm Show. Boom. And by the way, Crushed and and Creating Chaos were both paired up with Mandy the Merciless, The Really Odd Couple, Grim and Love, and Love's Evil spelled backwards. So that technically makes those episodes public domain episodes. So they won't have to be covered. Especially during the freaky scene with Billy and Eris. The reason why I say it's freaky, I'll let you see the episode for yourself. but I'm not going to show it because I think my YouTube might, well, you know, creating chaos. I honestly would make a community post telling everybody I'm streaming, but I think I'll let them find out. And besides, I think I'm falling off of YouTube. So because my posts are now like starting to lose. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with my posts and stuff. But I think that's just temporary. No moaning. And he says the word moan. Bored. And there's Eris, the goddess of chaos and discord. And this is her second appearance in the show as well, pretty much. And now she has a British accent and a gap in her teeth. Hey boy, can't wait for this one. Eris is also one of my favorite characters, still voiced by Rachel McFarlane herself. But yeah, pretty much. And I'm guessing, like after To Eris Human, Eris is not, Eris grew out of her like Valley Girl phase. Chaos. The dogs? Oh, damn. We'll let the dog go. Chaos. 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 There's a lot of things after that. And he's watching paint dry. Boy, is that something. This is the best part. I think we'll get to the best part in a moment with this episode. Opening and closing a cabinet, turning off and on the light, putting honey on the bread, jumping on the bed, and then Eris is starting to get a little impatient. More honey, and whoa! Hey now, don't look at this. This is not for children to see. And now the honey's on the bread. I'm not even going to talk about what just happened. And now Eris looks frightened by Billy's antics. Now Billy's finally ready to create chaos. And Eris is just scared now. I'm pretty sure Billy drove her insane. Oh damn. Now Eris is screaming. Billy drove her really insane. Right on schedule. And then the apple exploded. Boom. Talk about bad apples. Good one, Billy. Max Courage. Ah, yes. The Johnny Quest parody episode of Evil Con Carne. Of course. Wow, Dr. Courage is really much of a bad father because he doesn't even acknowledge Rick as his own son, and can't even forget his name. He even forgets his name, which is why I kind of felt bad for Rick in this episode. My name's Rick. The furry little weasel. And I also forgot to mention that Rick is voiced by Scott Menville, who also voiced Robin from Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. Mainly just Teen Titans, so yeah. And Bosco is behind him. Oh yeah, the weasel doesn't look like I Am Weasel. Wow. Was that a fish? I'm pretty sure that was Cod Commando's long lost brother or something. And there's Hector Con Carne. Dr. Courage. And also pretty much Dr. Courage and like the Courage family, like Max Courage and Rascal the Weasel and Stick. I mean Rick. They were also one-off characters. There's also a lot of, and Dr. Courage does not even care about Rick. Damn. And the weasel just beat up the guard. The brain doesn't even have lips. It's a brain. Oh yeah, Ghastly denying her crush on Hector. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's explained throughout the show. He doesn't even recognize his elder son. Wow. Max Courage. The weasel is driving. Yeah. Oh yeah, when he's yelling, he actually does sound like Robin from Teen Titans. Robin's just having a crash out because nobody can get his name right, and he's acknowledged as just a nobody. I'm gonna make you proud, Dad. That's literally just Robin, and now they're on an island. That isn't Bunny Island. Poor Rick, though. And now, the Grimm Show. Had to be covered up when I first, uploaded the video. Because I actually thought that they were, public domain episodes. But it turns out they weren't. Just because they were paired up with a public domain episode of Grim Evil doesn't mean they are. Cover up with copyright. Or avoid copyright. Oh, there's the Trosha again. Pretty sure that's her first appearance was Grimmer Gregory, as well as Gregory's mom, who looks sort of like Atrosha. And now that is the last appearance of Atrosha. I wonder whatever happened to her after her show got canceled and yeah. Whatever happened to her? She is almost as underrated as uh, um, Malaria and other characters from the Grim and Evil franchise that are underrated. Across the street. And Billy's following Grim with the camera. Oh yeah, that's pretty much not the first time that Billy had a camera. After that, pretty much Billy had a camera that was that shows reveals true hearts of characters. Like you know, that was the final episode of Billy and Mandy. Well, before the Grim Adventures of Candy and Underfist, of course. But we're not close to that episode yet. We're still in the Grim and Evil era. Third quarter of Grim and Evil, baby. Tomorrow, fourth quarter, that's it. Grim's in the box. Grim really is in the box. Yep, he really is in the box. Literally, which is my TV. And it gets jumped by bats. And also listen to this. That laugh exactly right there, that was the laugh used in the Billy and Mandy intro, where Grimm's head is on a flame in the spiral, which is basically just from Grim and Evil, except Grimm's laughing alone and just the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. That laugh from the Grimm show was used. I'm guessing, when Grim and Evil was being made for its unaired season, some elements from Billy and Mandy from the Grim and Evil era, some elements and clips from the show, Grim and Evil era, like the unaired episodes, had to be used for Billy and Mandy's intro. And then Billy and Mandy's intro was made, and then the episodes released, but only when the shows were split into their own individual shows. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and Evil Con Carne. I mean, apart from episode 16 of Grim and Evil that aired on quote unquote accident, and Jacked Up Halloween, which is pretty much its own thing, and probably doesn't count as like a Grim and Evil episode, but it still is. Because Milkshake is a cat, Billy. Oh yeah, that's when I had my own show before Billy and Mandy had to ruin it. But at least you had the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Yeah, that's true, man. But until it got cancelled a few years later. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But not as unfortunate as Hector's show being, canceled after 1 year when it became a standalone show from Grim and Evil. I just wanted my full series. Why me? court actor. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he got over it. Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, the Grimm show is almost coming to an end. Hmm. Everybody's just leaving and making fun of Grimm. You never let me have any fun. Poor Grimm. And now Grimm's crying. And I'm really sorry that Billy Mandy ruined your show, Grimm. Uh, uh, at least, at least there's still the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, man. Yeah, that's true. And that marks another end of a Grim and Evil episode. I would play the next episode, which is like episode 21, but I think I'll play that tomorrow. And it's already 3 in the morning. Well, almost 3 in the morning. Alright, now that the Grim and Evil episode's over, I would play like the next episode, but I think I'll wait until tomorrow. Yeah, that's understandable. And nobody was really here to watch you watch Grim and Evil. Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to follow up a little bit, Grim. I've seen my posts and they're starting to get a little less likes than usual. Usually the likes on my posts go up to like 30, 40, 50, 60, 100, 200 or whatever. But I think I'm starting to fall off, especially with my streams. There's barely anything in here. Yeah, I know how you feel. But maybe tomorrow everything will go back to normal. I hope. Thanks, Grim. Anyway, I think this probably marks another end to a stream that I wasted 2 hours and 50 minutes on. Oh well. Guess it's better to just stream tomorrow. And then, anyway, I think I'm gonna watch another video. I'm gonna watch a short video before ending stream. And just watching a clip from another Urban Evil episode, which I will watch tomorrow. I actually find that scene pretty relatable though. You know, Grim, being a YouTuber is it's really hard, to be honest. Harder than being the Grim Reaper. No. And Mandy said get out instead of saying shut up to Grim and Billy. But yeah, I, but yeah, my job as Grim Reaper is much harder than you being a YouTuber. Is not, is two, is not, is two, not, two, not, two, not, two, not, two. Shut up, both of you. Okay, EXE, oh, I guess we were just arguing like Billy and Grim in that episode, huh? Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I guess being a YouTuber is kind of hard. You gotta make videos for thousands of audiences that you, like thousands of people. Well, if you have enough subscribers or whatever, then you gotta make the perfect content and live streams. But don't you ever get a break sometimes? Well, I usually have the option to take a break, I just never go for it. These are my people. They need me. Just like how Billy and Mandy need you. And I do admit being the Grim Reaper is hard, especially with looking after two kids after losing a pet in Game of Limbo. They're sort of still like your friends, and sooner or later you grew to like them. Yeah, that is true. But what about you? What are you gonna do if your channel is slowly dying by the second? Well, you know what I say? I am not giving up. Like, if at first I don't succeed, try again. And, like, pretty much, like, um, and, yeah. Pretty much, I'm not giving up YouTube just yet. Unless I really have to retire, which I'm not going to, even if I wanted to. Which I don't want to. So, yeah. This was a stream. It wasn't that good, but it wasn't bad either. I got to watch Grim and Evil. So, yeah. There's 2 viewers here, but there's nothing there. Maybe YouTube's just playing a trick on me again. And, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream before I waste even more time. No offense, Grim. Yeah, but I think we could just chat out the stream before and then you'll go to bed. Yeah, I guess you're right. And, yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry if some of y'all didn't make it to the stream, which I know you were looking forward to seeing me stream. But sometimes I just stream late, and then I stream like, and then I just stream like where everybody else is asleep and can't join. But I might either stream tomorrow like earlier in the day or evening before, like, you know, I usually stream at this hour. So yeah, and hopefully people have notifications on or just care to join. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the stream, which I doubt you do. Alright, you might want to end it soon before you have a real crash out or something. Yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the stream. Make sure to like, comment below. If you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss a video or stream. Anyway, this is Frolic, Grim, and pretty much anybody outside voice ending the stream. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody. I will rule the world someday. I doubt it. DXD, would you like to say anything? Say something? Even though you only said something once? I'm gonna... Okay. Okay, that's good. Anyway, I didn't even get to say anything. Alright, that's the end of the stream. Bye. Bye, everybody.